to Consumers Connect, the show where real people share real opinions. I'm your host, Ogale Abikele, and this is the place where we put the consumer at the center of the conversation. Every day, as we move around Lagos and other cities, we are surrounded by advertising. Billboards on major roads, digital screens at intersections, advertising on buses and taxis, branded buildings, street furnitures, you name it. Here is the question: are we actually paying attention? But most of us spending so much time on our phones scrolling through social media, watching videos and receiving personalized advertisement. How relevant is out of home advertising to today's consumers? Does a billboard still make you stop and look? Can an outdoor advertising make you remember a brand? Can it influence what you buy? Or have you simply become so used to seeing advertising everywhere that you no longer notice them? That is the conversation we're having today on Consumers Connect, and the topic is: how relevant is out-of-home advertising to today's consumers? And as always, we will be talking to the consumer and, of course, with the consumer, because on Consumers Connect, your voice matters. All right, you're still on to Consumers Connect, and the topic is: how relevant is out-of-home advertising for you as a consumer? Now, let's begin with our consumer pulse. Think about your daily journey. You leave home, you see a billboard. You enter a major road, another billboard. You stop at a traffic light, there is a digital screen. Oh my God, we are bombarded by advertising left, right, and center. So the real question is, how many of those advertisements do you really remember? Our consumer pulse question is: what makes you notice an outdoor advertisement? And the number to call to contribute to the program is 08058 975897. You can call us on WhatsApp, send a WhatsApp message, and we'll be very excited to share your opinion on the show. All right, we quickly would move on to the street voice. We usually go to the street to get consumers' opinion about the topic, and we have very interesting perspectives we would like to share.
Outdoors advertising is very useful and entertaining. Why? Because it can attract the people. It can attract so many people. People walking, people driving. It can make them to be aware that a new product is available or a service is available that they can get. But sometimes it can be intrusive, whereby the billboards are too many and they are placed in distracting areas. But when it's well managed, when the outdoor advertising is well managed, is well designed, it is very effective and it can generate more customers.
Just to quickly answer your questions about outdoor advertising, if it's useful, entertaining, or intrusive. For me, I would say I find outdoor advertising useful and sometimes entertaining, but it can also feel intrusive and overwhelming. Yeah, I think it's useful because it helps me in particular discover new product, businesses, and promotions without having to look for them. Yeah. I also enjoy outdoor advertising when they are creative, attractive, or funny. All those ones with comic twists and cartoon animations. Yeah, I enjoy seeing those ones. However, when there are too many billboards or ads everywhere, it can feel distracting and make the environment clustered and look crowded. More especially those ads that doesn't have nice graphics design. the one with all those color jamming and all of that, or funny looking handwriting where I have to squint my eyes to read through, because I'm a very observant person. Wherever I go to or wherever I find myself, I tend to observe things.
We have a call. Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. You're welcome to Consumers Connect.
Yeah, that is Consumer Connect. Good to be online.
Yeah.
We are talking about outdoor advertising, the usefulness.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very useful because especially those adverts that are very appealing to the eye. The other day, I saw an advert advertising a particular brand of rice. And as a result of the way it was appealing, I have to go and buy the rice and try it. So both of those outdoor advertising, if they are appealing even to the kids, to the audience, to even the grown-up, they have to have a long way in making impact in the life of a consumer.
Thank you so much. Appealing. So that speaks about creativity, really. Thank you so much for calling and contributing to the program. So the number to call is 08058975897 to contribute to the program. And from the responses we've gotten so far, very interesting perspective. They say that, outdoor advertising make it less boring in traffic. Yeah, we have a call. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you're welcome to the show.
Good
Yes.
evening.
Yes, you're welcome to Consumers Connect.
Thank you. Personally, I find outdoor advertising useful when it provides relevant information about products, services, events, or promotions. However, it becomes intrusive when there are too many repeated ads. For example, when you are driving around the road, you see that in some places there are too many billboards that are crowded together. And sometimes these billboards are very bright digital signs that distract drivers. It also makes some areas look so clustered that it reduces the visual appeal of the neighborhood or public places.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Can we know your name and where you're calling from, please?
Oh, my name is Patience Amami. I'm calling from Canada.
Thank you so much for joining all the way from Canada. You're watching us on YouTube Live, right?
Yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
Colossus.
Thank you so much for calling into the show. And so the conversation is really how relevant is outdoor advertising to you as a consumer, and very interesting perspective has been shared. The number to call again to contribute to the program is 08058975897. Really, for consumer, they speak about crowded, when too many adverts. And sometimes, I think the last caller spoke about, okay, we have a call. Hello. Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
You're welcome to the Consumers Connect show, yeah.
Okay, my take on this is that I believe that outdoor advertising is very useful, is very helpful. Sometimes it can also be very interesting to look at where you are on the road. Let's say there's traffic, it can be very interesting. And sometimes it's also helpful because when there are new discounted prices, it can help you to know more about those products and those discounted prices.
Awareness, appeal, awareness. Great perspective. Thank you so much for calling. Where are you calling from? What's your name? And where are you calling from, please?
I'm calling from Colossus.
Oh, thank you so much for calling and contributing to the program. What do you think? Very interesting, really, really. Awareness is key for consumers, and it helps to keep them busy while in traffic. That's a very interesting one, especially for people who live in Lagos. We have a lot of experiences regarding traffic, and then that's a good time for you to just entertain yourself with the creativity that you see being expressed in out-of-home advertising. Great perspective. So this is where we quickly move on to the next segment, business behind the brand, in a bit.
Yeah, I'm close coming. Did you pick it up?
Okay, you're welcome to Consumers Connect. Hello. You're welcome to Consumers Connect.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. You're welcome to Consumers. Please stay away from your radio set. Thank you. Kindly stay away from your radio set, please. All right, you can go. Okay, we lost. Kindly call back if you can hear us. Kindly call back and stay away from your radio set. The conversation is how relevant is out of home advertising to you as a consumer. A great perspective has been revealed by our consumers who have called in to share their opinion. Really, it's about awareness. Great tool to create awareness. Great tool to create that sort of appeal. Yeah. I can even perceive the excitement in their voices. Great one. So this is where we move on to business behind the brand, and I'll quickly like to introduce our guest today. As always, we bring in the brand representatives really to give us, their own perspective. Even as we want to hear the consumer, we also want to hear the brand to create a balance in the conversation. And so today we have someone with from the out of home advertising space, one who's been there for almost a decade or more. And I would like to introduce Ms. Juliet from Airpower Limited, Head of Business. I also do have the honors to introduce herself. Thank you so much for coming into the program.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Juliet Nnaji, and I am the head of business for Airpower Limited. I have been in Airpower Limited through from a sales person onto a business development executive, and now I am the head of business.
Okay, we have a call. Let's take this call first.
Okay.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. You're welcome to Consumers Connect.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. You can go ahead, please. Hello, you can go ahead, please.
Okay. Good evening. My thoughts on this topic is that the outdoor advertising, it reminds me of the brand. Whenever it reminds me of the brand and reinforce the memory. However, it doesn't usually force me or push me to buy a product. I can't remember buying a product because of outdoor advertising, but usually it reminds me of that brand that this brand exists and it creates some level of trust if it's an entertainment and it's being done by maybe someone that is highly influential. So that is what it does. What pushes me to buy product most of the time is through referral, word of mouth, or someone that has used that product and say, I've used this and it works. So, but outdoor advertising doesn't really push me to buy a product, but it reinforces the memory, remind me of that brand.
Fantastic.
From
Thank
my
you.
opinion.
So there's a kind of relevance it has for you as a consumer, regardless of whether you
Yes,
buy.
exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much for contributing. Yeah, what's your name and where are you calling from, please?
My name is Tama. I'm calling from Ogun State.
Oh, thank you so much for calling. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, all right. So you were introducing yourself.
Oh yes.
conclude.
So I've been in the out of home space for over 14 years now. I started through different companies, and here I am at Airpower Limited managing outdoor advertising at the airport, which is one of the niche advertising products in Nigeria today.
Yeah, and we're here to learn more about that niche sector. All right, so the first question is consumers are constantly glued to their phones and digital screens. What makes out of home advertising powerful enough to capture their attention today?
So the fact that people are constantly on their phone usually make outdoor advertising more important, because outdoor advertising reaches people when they are physically on the move. They are out of their phone, they are on the drive, they are commuting to other environments, and it just gives that click in your head, sort of like an entertainment on the road. So that is what outdoor advertising is all about for me.
Yeah. I think some consumers alluded to the fact that they get entertained while in traffic and just helps them ease out on the boredom encountered while in traffic. Great
Yeah.
perspective. Now, the next question is, we see hundreds of billboards and outdoor messages every day. Now, what makes outdoor, out of home advertising stand out and become something consumers actually remember?
Okay, I would say the first thing is simplicity. A billboard has to have few seconds of communication. Really, our attention span is, very short, and a few seconds of communication, something very catchy, something very simple, something very clear, and easy to understand. Really, that is what makes your billboard to stand out. And I always advise clients, because some clients, they don't have like in-house creative agencies or in-house creative personnel. They just do it from the top of their head. And I advise them, the more simple your message is, the more catchy, the more attention to detail, your brand gets to your consumers. So I would say simplicity, and I would also say creativity. Location also matters, timeliness, the type of audience you're trying to reach. But most of all, or most importantly, when your message is simple, your message is being heard clearly.
I agree with that absolutely, because there's some ads you see, you start wondering what the brand is trying to say,
Yeah.
and all that, and so in that process you lose the consumer, because they don't have time, they're impatient.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the new behavior that consumers have now, does location influence consumer perception? For example, does seeing a brand in a premium location make consumers perceive the brand as more credible, successful, or trustworthy?
Yes, so I would say it from my perspective and experience as a person who sells billboard at the airports. 90% of my clients, they want perception. That's the reason they're advertising at the airports. So absolutely, location plays a significant role in how a consumer or a customer experience a brand. During Christmas, there is this fiesta or festival that happened. It's called Discovering Motherland. So it's a festival for people that live in diaspora, that come into Nigeria to have fun and also experience the Nigerian Afrobeats and the artists as well. They did something at the airport that was truly, truly captivating. And from when people that wanted to go to this show saw it at the airport, when they were picking up their luggages, they were like, oh wow, this is so nice. They were so pumped, because they're like, for these people to advertise at the airport and make us feel welcome,
That makes sense.
yes, so it's created more relevance, for that, for the kind of festival they were going to experience. And it also like gave them a true diversified meaning to what the festival was all about. So I would say location driven advertising, especially at the airports, is something that is key to brand. Especially when you want to position yourself as a premium brand, you need to be at the airports. Airport advertising should be one of your core advertising locations.
Okay, so when you speak about airport advertising, one thing that I worry about, because I've traveled and I'm always in a haste, the chaos that may follow, you're trying to catch your flight, trying to go through the security and all of that. Do you think that the consumer is really in the right frame of mind to consume the communication you put out on the billboards? Because I take time to observe movement. I think the only time that they probably will have to look around will be when they are waiting for their flights. But usually they're always in a hurry. They see a lot of adverts everywhere. Of course, it helps to beautify, the airports. But I really want to know, based on your perspective, you work with consumers, you try to understand what moves for them. Do you think that it's really working if you consider all of these, implications?
Yes, I would also put in place that the airport audience, they are particularly valuable because they are often mobile, just like you said. They want to cut through immigration, they want to quickly check in and also go through their flight. But sometimes they have like this sit down moment where they have to wait for their flights. Those moments, that is where our advertising platform plays a huge role. People want to get distracted. Sometimes people also want to get away from their phone. people want to hear the sound system. People want to hear their flights being called on, and they don't want to get distracted on their phone.
I agree.
So the only thing they have to do is to look up. Yeah, and once they
that's
look
true.
up, they look at the billboard.
That's
Yeah,
true.
so that is a way for us to get our audience when it comes to airport advertising.
I agree. Of course, you don't want to miss your flight, so you take away every distractions. So the next question is, airport advertising is often considered, okay, we've gone through that question. Now, digital billboards are becoming increasingly popular. Are there many outdoor advertising that are more engaging for consumers? Or is there something else you want to add? You've spoken about airport. You're still within that space.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you work with other organizations.
Of course.
Not just the airport.
Yes.
So, can you make a case for out-of-home advertising?
For out-of-home digital billboards, well, they can definitely make outdoor more engaging because they allow brand to use movements, they can use multiple messages, they can tell a story, timely content, and they are more dynamic. But digital does not automatically mean effective. You wouldn't say because you're on a digital platform your advert is effective. It doesn't always work like that, because when it's too clustered, it doesn't really pass the message. But digital advertising, less is more, like I initially said. Once it's simple, once there is a story to tell, you play around graphics, you do something more creative and captivating. Yes, digital advertising is the way to go.
So you spoke about cluster, and I really need to ask this question. A caller called and said crowded. Roads are crowded with billboards advertising everywhere you turn, advert. Now, as a professional who has canvassed this territory for the past 14 years, what would you say about this? Because something that we've noticed in Lagos, every turn you take is adverts. And are these adverts actually communicating to the consumer? Because too much of it becomes, intrusive for the consumer. So make a case quickly. Wrap up this segment of the show.
That is the reason there are agencies. We have LASA. We also have our agencies that govern us. We have O1, and these are the kind of issues we always talk about. Before now, advertising, digital billboards or advertising as a whole, outdoor advertising in Lagos used to be very, very efficient, very, very calculated. You can't go 200 you have to be 200 meters away from the first billboard you see. I think all of that is being put in place. I just feel because there are just more billboards on the road, people feel it is clustered. You cannot see a billboard side by side. It is not possible because there are governing laws. There are laws that are put in place, and there are agencies as well that control all of these implementations as well. So if they say billboards are often clustered, I think maybe they are mixing it up with signages and billboard. It might be
maybe we need to be better educated. However, we think we need to have proper education because our consumers may not really understand what's happening. But the professionals, they sure know what is going on. So
yes,
that's we always have to get your perspective. Well, for the sake of time, we'll quickly move on to the next segment, and I would like to appreciate our guest, Juliet, for coming on the show. We hope to have future conversations where you educate us better. So when we are consuming out-of-home advertising, we are making sense out of it. So we move on to Consumers Courtroom, and that's where we pretty much bring a case for our consumer and perhaps for our guest. So the issue today is out-of-home advertising reaches consumers when they are actually in the real world. They don't have to open an app, click anything. The billboard is just simply there. So we want our consumers to react to this. You can react to this question. Unlike a social media post that can disappear from the screen in seconds, a billboard is strategically placed in a specific location and it remains there for weeks, for months. So the thing is, as a consumer, send us a message via 081694411721 on WhatsApp. Tell us what your experiences are. Make a case for out-of-home advertising. As you know, we have several channels for advertisement. Right now we're discussing out-of-home advertising. We would love to hear your thoughts after this time. So we move quickly to industry update after a moment. Okay, on industry update, MTN Nigeria celebrates 25 years of operations in Nigeria. I would like to say congratulations to MTN Nigeria. The company has been doing remarkably in the country for over 25 years, transforming the telecommunications landscape. It is such a wonderful feeling, and I would like to say congratulations again to MTN Nigeria and everyone working behind the brand. So that brings us to the end of today's edition of Consumers Connect. Today we have been speaking about how relevant is it with outdoor advertising for you as a consumer. So do well to join us same time next week on the show. I am Ogale Abikele. For sponsorship and partnership, please call the number 08169441721. For sponsorship and partnership inquiries, call 08169441721. I am Ogale Abikele, your host. Until next time, stay blessed and keep watching the space. Consumers Connect, good evening to you all.